So how do I reduce my taxes abroad? I get this question a lot. And as someone who lives abroad outside of the United States, which is where I'm from, I have some ideas for both non-US citizens and US citizens, although we have a few more stipulations that you should pay attention to. I'm James Naveen. I'm the founder of the Freedom Files. Over the last 4 years, I have started my own online businesses. I have scaled my income almost exponentially from what I was making in a 9 to 5. I've moved abroad, lived in about 10 different countries since then, and reduced my cost of living and taxes, again, exponentially.
Nice.
Over the next 100 days, I'm going to film 100 videos answering questions like this, the questions that I get most frequently about living abroad, about becoming more free, about starting an online business, and this is just the beginning. So in this first video, you're going to learn about the two different kind of tax systems that countries have, how non-US citizens can reduce their taxes abroad, and how US citizens can reduce their taxes abroad. And I'll go in that order and also share some personal examples from my life as we do it. So talking about these two different tax systems that countries employ in order to tax their citizens or residents. And that's exactly what it comes down to. So countries either have a citizenship-based taxation policy or a residency-based taxation policy. That means if you are a citizen of that country in a country that employs that citizenship-based taxation, that means no matter how much time you spend in that country or abroad or where you make your money, you still owe that country taxes. On the other side of things, residency-based. If you spend usually more than 6 months in that country, only when you make that country the center of your economic life, the center of your personal and professional life, only then do you owe taxes to that country. To move out of that residency-based taxation system, then it is a citizenship-based taxation because you would need to give up your citizenship in order to get out of that. So for non-US citizens, meaning you do not have citizenship-based taxation, assuming that you're not from Eritrea, a war-torn country in Africa, which is the only other country other than the United States who employs a citizenship-based taxation. There are some other policies that are similar, but not quite to the degree that the United States has citizenship-based taxation. It really comes down to 3 different steps in order to reduce your taxes by living abroad. First, you need to find a new home. So let's say you're from the UK and you pay UK taxes, which are increasing every year. You need to find a new tax home, and you need to spend more than 183 days there in order to create that country as the new center of your economic life, the new center of your personal life. That way, you pay taxes in that other country and not your home country. And ideally, you would obviously choose a country that is tax friendly, right?
Beautiful, lovely taxes.
Popular spots like Dubai doesn't have a personal income tax. Many different tax havens in Latin America, like Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Central America, like Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. A lot of those countries I just named also have territorial tax systems, which means that if you do not earn your income in that country, they don't want to touch it. They don't want to tax it.
Don't touch it, ever.
So let's say I move to Costa Rica from the UK. I spend more, well, that's an easier example. Paraguay, I move to Paraguay for more than 6 months a year. I make that country my new tax residency, my new tax home, and therefore I earn money online and do not earn money locally by a shop in Paraguay. I do not owe any tax to Paraguay because that income that I'm earning is not locally sourced. It's foreign sourced income in a territorial tax system that doesn't tax foreign sourced income. So popular spots, like I said, Dubai, blah, blah, blah. All you really need to do is become resident in that new tax country. And obviously you want to make sure that that tax country is tax friendly. Be careful with digital nomad visas. Be careful with residency visas because you may become, if you're traveling all around the world, a tax resident of a country that you do not intend to become a tax resident of. So you got to be careful with the amount of time you spend in a country, about their tax residency rules, because each country differs. But the general rule is don't stay anywhere more than 183 days if you don't intend to become a tax resident there. But that's really it. You have to leave your country. You have to establish the tax residency in a new country with either a territorial tax system, which means you do not have to pay tax on foreign sourced online income, or choose a country that doesn't have any personal income tax at all.
Hey, that's pretty good.
But you do have to leave the country in the first place. And every country differs on what exactly you need to prove in order to leave that tax net, that tax jurisdiction. But you need to prove that you have this new tax residency, this new home, in order to break up with your previous jurisdiction, your previous tax residency. And that sometimes can mean that you may pay exit taxes. European countries love exit taxes, especially if you're a high earner. So, in order to avoid those exit taxes, make sure you speak with a legal expert, a tax expert. I am not that guy. Don't take this as tax advice, but this is just informational. For US citizens, since you have a citizenship based taxation system based on your passport, based on your nationality, no matter how much time you spend abroad, or where the income that you make is sourced, you still owe Uncle Sam and the IRS your taxes. But the US does offer some exclusions and credits in order for you to reduce your taxes, especially when living abroad. The only way to completely eradicate personal income taxes from your life if you're a US citizen is by renouncing your citizenship, giving up that US passport, of course, for another. You have to have a second citizenship in order to do that. So, in order to reduce your taxes abroad, if you're a US citizen, you have to move abroad.
Why are you going to the airport? Flying somewhere?
The foreign earned income exclusion allows you, if you spend more than 330 days outside of the United States or establish tax residency in another country, to pretty much get your first 126,000 US dollars of personal income tax exempt. The income that you earn over that amount is taxed at its normal marginal rates. So it's not exactly just cutting off that income like you didn't even make it, that $126,000. But obviously, you're dramatically reducing your tax rate if you're earning less than 126,000, and even if you're earning over that. There are also a bunch of other tax credits like the foreign housing credit and some other exclusions that you should be aware of, as well as double tax treaties. So the United States has 65 different double tax treaties around the world with countries that you're undoubtedly familiar with. If you make those countries also your tax residency, you won't necessarily have to pay taxes in both the United States and that country. You will not be taxed twice on the same dollar. That's really what those double tax treaties prevent and avoid. So in my case, I left the United States about 4 years ago, and I've been able to claim that foreign earned income exclusion every year that I've been outside of the United States, more than 330 days a year. And I have not also established tax residency in another country. So because I have not established tax residency in another country, I need to spend those 330 days outside of the country in any 365-day period. I don't have a problem with that because I love life outside of the United States.
Have a good time. Enjoy life.
But that's something you have to be aware of. You have to qualify for one of those two exceptions for the FEIE credit. Therefore, as a business owner, I balance between the credits and exclusions and favorable opportunities that I have between the S Corp qualification that I have on my LLC business and the FEIE for the amount of time I spend outside the United States. And usually it's a split. For non-US citizens, this is really easy. All you have to do is go establish tax residency in another country. You have to break up with your current country, and voila, you're paying less taxes.
Oh my God! Wow!
So remember, I'm not a tax specialist. This is just for entertainment and information purposes. Over the next 100 days, I'm going to be answering a whole slew of questions about my life of building an online business, about reducing my cost of living and taxes, and living abroad in about 10 different countries. So if you have any questions, drop them down below in the comments. Otherwise, check out the Freedom Files. Give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss another video. Thanks for tuning in.